Handheld tech toys for kids, today on Call for Help.
Hi, how are you? Good to see you. Welcome. It's time for Call for Help. I'm your helper, Leo Laporte. This is the show where we show you how to use technology, how to take advantage of it, how to put it to work for you. And by the way, this is episode 276. I'm telling people now so that they know how old we are.
Oh, boy.
Ladies and gentlemen, she's looking great, not old at all. Amber MacArthur, my Call for Helper.
Hi,
Couldn't
Leo.
do it without you. We're going to do some software here for us today.
Yeah, today I'm going to show a place online where you can go and you can track all your tasks and actually keep time of all your tasks. So if you think that you're spending too much time doing certain things, you can actually track it and make sure that you spend less time next time.
I spend too much time tracking how much time I'm wasting. I know I want to cut that down.
It could do that, too. That's not what it's meant for, but it could probably do that.
Steve Gibson is here. He's our
I'm so
guru.
excited.
He's going to talk, our security guru. He's going to talk about rootkits, which is a very scary thing, a way that a hacker can get on your system and no one can tell. In fact, what we're going to do, we have to do this, Steve, is test all our computers here to see if we have... Now, I used to say, that now that we're in Australia, I can't say it anymore. When, you know, if somebody is root on your system, I used to say, well, I can't say it because in Australia it turns out to be a dirty word.
Oh, no.
So
put it in the show notes.
we don't know what's happened to you if somebody has root on your system. We can't, just they have control of it. You know where I'm going with that, Mike? Mike knows where I'm going with that.
He does. He's giggling over there.
And Mara Goulins is here. She's got some great educational,
I know. I'm so excited to have her
handhelds like
back.
this for kids. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Those are always fun.
Yeah.
Fun for us, too.
I know. I kind of enjoy this game. It's like a big Game Boy.
I do.
So, yeah, 276, episode 276.
I can't believe it.
I'm going to start saying that at the beginning of the show now to make it a little easier when you go to the website to find the content from the website.
It's probably a good idea.
So you know the show number. We always put it at the beginning, but you know.
Kind of gets lost.
The other thing I want to say, because I know sometimes it gets cut out of the U.S. version, is that if you want to be on the show, it's easy enough to go to the website, callforhelptv.com, click the link, ask a question, and then we have the form and we can get you on the show.
Yeah, it's
like
easy.
Our first caller.
Our first caller, we have Sue on the webcam from Tantalon, Saskatchewan.
Hi, Amber.
Hi there.
Hi, Leo.
Hi, Grandma Sue. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Oh, we got a great picture of you, too, on our webcam.
Wonderful.
Yeah, look at that. We got it working. Hallelujah.
Yes, yes.
You know, you picked a very good time to ask your question, but I'm going to let you ask it, and then I'm going to show you why it was such a good time.
Okay.
What's the problem, Grandma Sue?
I recently got a high-speed connection through a satellite.
How nice.
Through Anycast. But when I go to the GRC site to test my port...
Shields up?
Yeah, pardon?
Shields up.
Shields up, yep.
Yep.
Every port is open except 8. And I'm a little concerned over that.
I don't blame you.
When I had dial-up, all my ports were stealthed.
Yeah. Well,
And
you had a
now-
different internet provider at the time, huh?
Yes,
Yeah.
through SaskTel, but now through this Anycast.
Are we? Is that what we're looking at you right now, or is it on the satellite?
Yes.
Wow,
yeah.
that's a pretty good picture for a satellite. That's
Yeah.
great.
It's double, or up and down high speed.
Oh, it is?
Yes,
oh,
it
that's
is.
nice.
One other time I had high speed, but it was only down, and I
Right.
had to always dial into it.
Right.
But this one is always on.
They've gotten better, and this I have to say, I'm kind of impressed. This is a pretty good picture we're getting from you. Well, you know what? Good news, Sue, because you go to Shields Up, as I do, as pretty much everybody does. 40 million people have gone now to Shields Up to test their firewalls, to see how it's doing. And guess who's here with us today? Steve, the guy who wrote it.
Right.
So if anybody could tell me why your ports are open, Steve could tell us. First of all, when she talks about open, closed, and stealthed ports, what is she talking about?
The way the net works, computers that are on the net have actually 64,65536 is the exact count, ports which are able to receive data.
Right.
The problem is that open ports accept traffic willingly. Closed ports you can see, or a hacker can see from the outside, even though data isn't being accepted, and stealth ports are completely invisible.
So if it were like a house on a street, and the hacker is just walking down the street rattling doorknobs, an open port, the door's wide open, he can walk right in the house.
Exactly.
A closed port is the door is locked, but he still knows there's a door in the house there, and there might be something on the other side. Stealth is like there's nothing there at all.
The lot is vacant.
He just keeps on going. Oh, there's no house there. So stealth is really the way to go. Otherwise, you're kind of saying, yeah, I'm here. Come on, try to get in.
Yeah, and in fact, I mean, it's become enough of a thing that there are some routers that have upgraded their firmware after I added some additional stealth testing technology because they weren't stealth, and people were complaining that, hey, I'm not stealth anymore.
So I've gone out here on Shields Up, and I'm just ran the little Shields Up analysis, and you can see all these green lights mean on my computer.
Green is good.
That's stealthed. It means that. And now ports are just different ways that services connect. So the FTP stealth, Telnet stealth, mail incoming and outgoing stealth. Doesn't mean they don't work. It just means that if a hacker comes and tries to knock on the door, they're not.
It means that the user's data can get out,
but
nothing unsolicited, nothing unexpected is able to even see that there's anything there.
So is Sue right to be worried when she sees a bunch of open ports?
Well, the question is Shields Up, because of her satellite connection, is it actually checking her computer, or is it actually checking a proxy server, some sort of fancy satellite uplink?
Which is probably the case.
Which is exactly what's actually happening.
Yeah.
I mean, because there's no way that all of her ports are going to be open.
Right. Her D-Link is almost undoubtedly stealthing everything.
Well, that's the beauty. If she's behind a D-Link router, then that's acting as we've talked about before, as a real hardware firewall.
So should she be concerned, even though Shields Up's reporting that she's got open ports? They're not really open on her system. They're open on the satellite side. Yes.
What IP, Sue, does Shields Up show you at the top of the page?
Does it show me?
You know, right at the top of the page when you do Shields Up, it says your computer at IP. It shows you an address. And Steve's asking, I don't know, do you have it open in front of you, Sue, right now?
Yeah, I do.
Is it like 10 dot or 172 dot? Or
no, it's 206 dot.
206, which would be her... Probably her IP address.
Well, it's either her IP or it could be a block of addresses that her satellite provider is using and then redistributing.
You didn't reconfigure the D-Link at all, did you, Sue?
No, I didn't.
She's safe.
She's
then, right?
absolutely safe behind a NAT router.
The D-Link, the way it arrives in your house is protected. Unless you specifically open those ports. So what Steve's saying, and I'm glad you were here because I would not have realized this, is that what Shields Up is seeing is not you, in fact, but it's seeing the server that the satellite company has on its end.
And, of course, they've got all their ports open in case something wanted to come through that was expected. But when it gets to Sue's D-Link router, it's stopped cold.
It's good. So that's just the way, unfortunately, that's just the way the satellite company's doing it. You can't really tell what your security is. Is there any way she could test her own security? Not really.
I can't think of anything without having another computer
in the house
to like test against.
Yeah. So because Shields Up can only connect to you through your satellite provider. So that's how it's doing it. So Sue, I'm glad you asked. In this case, there's nothing to worry about.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Thanks so much.
You've got a unique seal of approval, not merely the automated Shields Up seal of approval, but you've got Steve Gibson's personal assurance.
I'm glad. That's good.
Thank you, Sue. I'm really glad you joined us today.
I am too. Thanks a lot.
All right. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. And everybody should go to grc.com and run the Shields Up test, because most of us are not on something unusual like that. We are on normal routers, and that will tell you how your router, or if you don't have a router, how your system is set. Coming up next, we're going to get our favorite tech mom to show us some cool products that'll have your kids learning while they're playing games. I know, I couldn't put it down. It's kind of a win-win situation. Stick around. We'll show you how these devices work. It's Call for Help continues. Stay right here. Welcome back to Call for Help. About 5 years ago, sales of educational software titles broke the $500 million mark. Wow, banner year. Then fast forward to 2004, that figure was down to $152 million. What happened? well, I guess these days kids are going online or they're using handheld devices, let them play games, whatever. They're just not doing it on the computer. Maybe this is the future, some of these new handheld gaming gadgets. To show us the latest technology, our tech mom, Mara Goulans. She has 3 little girls. What is it, 4, 6, and 8?
4, 6, and 8.
So you're an expert on this stuff.
I'm an expert.
And as they get older, you're going to move to teenage devices?
That's right. I'll go with them.
So they play with these.
Well, the funny thing is that my oldest, I know we did everything on the computer, and now we're using these, and I thought it was just a phenomenon in our house. You know?
Apparently not.
And apparently not.
I remember sitting with my kids who are now 13 and 11. They called them lap software.
Right, lapware.
Lapware.
Yeah.
And you'd sit and you'd play like, you know, Arthur's Adventures or whatever and play with them. Your kids are too little, but... And they love those, but you're right, there's nothing out there now.
No,
it just disappeared.
No, and if it is, I guess some of it you can just hand down and stuff, but I get very few kids' software titles to review now. Yeah.
But this is a big category, you think?
It's a big category, yeah. And I mean, also this connecting to the TV and using the TV for something is big as well right now.
So kids don't want to sit in front of the computer anymore?
No, I've heard also that actually when they come home from school,
that's
just
the
like us.
last thing we want to do, yeah. So show us some stuff here. This is the Leapfrog.
This is the Leapfrog Leapster LMAX, which is learning to the max.
Now, Leapfrog's been doing these devices for a while.
They've been doing them for a while, and the first Leapster was out about 2 years ago.
Okay.
So this is the advanced version of it now. And the neat thing is that you can connect it to the TV
let me just show Basil this because, or to Camel 3, okay. This is kind of like a Game Boy if you look at it. It even has, and I'm sure that's one of the reasons kids like these is because it reminds them of Big Brother, Big Sister's game consoles, you know, and they have the buttons like that. And they could play on the screen, but they can also hook it up to the TV. That's the idea. So we'll do that so that you can see it a little bit better.
But mine do tend to play it on the screen, in the car, on the sofa.
That's really what you want it
in
for.
Bed, wherever.
Right. You don't want to have to go hook it up to the TV.
Right.
It's good for us because we can show it.
Right. And it has this nice pause button, which my 6-year-old has learned that if Mom comes and asks her a question, and she looks me in the eye.
That's really good.
That's very good.
Yeah.
It's very good.
How'd you train him to do that?
Because I said, if you don't look me in the eye, I take it away.
Good. Yeah, you have to do that because otherwise they just, whatever. Yeah.
Exactly.
They don't register. So what are we learning in this one?
So this is Letters on the Loose. It's the new game that comes with it, and it's really nice and educational.
These are cartridges so you could get other games, yes?
Yes, and they cost about $30. Okay, so they're a bit pricey. So the games, too, teach you how to do things. They teach you how to run it.
30 is a lot.
It is a lot.
Do you get a lot of play out of one of these? I mean, is it going to last for months, or am I going to have to get a new one every few weeks?
Not a few weeks, but you will have to get a new one.
Every month or two?
Yeah, but parents are spending more on games at this point.
Yeah.
So, okay. So the thing is that we do have to press the card. It
has a touchpad.
Okay. So we're looking for something that begins with a D.
I
passed it.
I'm
giving you this to play.
I am good at this game. This is very much like the software that we played when my kids were little. It's pretty much the same.
It is.
So really what's happened is the capabilities of these have gotten so good that they've migrated the PC programs down.
Exactly. Yep.
And then you don't have software installation issues. You don't have to take over Dad's or Mom's computer.
It's yours, basically.
It's yours.
It's yours.
So there is some real advantage to this. This looks exactly the same.
Yeah, I think they've really
This is like
taken
Reader Rabbit or any of it.
Yeah. And Leapster gets you a bit of a bonus. There's an extra game if you play it on your TV. But again, I don't know how many kids will actually do that.
So do teachers agree that this is a good thing, or is this considered a bad thing? I mean...
Well, you know what? I think this, like we're looking at the numbers that they're changing for the software, I think these still have a ways to go in what they're really going to be in terms of education. Because you look at these two and they're different. I mean, I think that the Leapster is great for the learning.
Pretty much like Reader Rabbit. I mean, this is the kind of stuff they were learning. And teachers used to say that's a good thing. And kids are going to be playing with these video game machines. Let me switch over. I have to go back here and plug in the other one. But teachers are probably would prefer the kids were reading books, but frankly, they're not. Can you turn that one on?
And I've seen, with my own eyes how this actually helps. How this helps a 4- and 6-year-old improve their writing.
Really do that. Yeah.
We could turn that one.
And it's better than a Game Boy. If they want a Game Boy, maybe get them this.
Right, and they're a bit different.
Well, the music sounds exactly the same.
They're a bit different though. This one doesn't show on the handheld when you play it on the TV, and the other one does.
Okay.
Learning adventure.
Okay.
Games again, $30 thereabouts.
These are like $10 cheaper, but the same thing. And the unit itself is around $100. So
it's a little less. The unit. What was the Leapfrog?
The Leapfrog is $100 US.
That's 100, and
this is 90.
Is 90. Okay.
Right. So.
Move the joystick to hit the block. Select letters to spell the word.
Now, we're not good people to test this because, of course, we know how to read. But
Well,
but if you think kids can figure this out.
This is a lot more arcade style.
Is it?
Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right. They're gonna shoot.
This is like, I mean, what I'm learning here is...
it's like breakout.
how to...
Yeah.
So it's a lot different. It's a lot different in terms of what it's...
Did your kids like this better?
The older one does. For the younger one, it's...
Is it too hard?
It's too hard, and it's... Okay, what do we have here? Radio. Right?
Oh, I see. You're spelling a word.
Right.
Ah.
My babysitter, she's 19. She loves
it.
Right? Whoops, missed that one.
That's kind of fun. You know what? I have to say, I'm impressed with the gameplay of it. Actually, does look kind of fun.
Yeah. So it's a different kind of thing for different different kinds of kids. But they're both targeted at the same age group. Would you recommend one over the other? Well, I think I'm a bit of a fan of Leapfrog. Just because I'm used, the Leapfrog. I'm used to the titles. You've got Professor Quigley and the whole thing involved. Right. This is more arcade-like, and I mean, I know you learn from arcade-like games.
You might be more motivated to play it, though, right?
Yeah, if you're like, I think 8-year-olds would move on this more.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Two good choices, and maybe if you have 2 kids, you get one of each, right?
That's right.
Mara Gullins has been covering technology, especially as it pertains to kids, for the last decade, editing and writing for various tech publications. To read more about her thoughts on these kid-friendly products, check out our show notes at callforhelptv.com. We should figure out a way to make our quizzes like this. We do have our tech-friendly quiz question of the day, brought to you by Next Tech. In what year was the first permanent iMac system set up? Was it 1967, 1985, 1971, or 1900? Get to the website, give us the answer. We'll talk about it when Call for Help continues. This music is driving me nuts.
Welcome back to Call for Help. Time for our Mac tip of the day. Here's how you can back up your hard drive on your Mac with Mike Bombic's free carbon copy cloner. Just go to bombic.com to download the software. Once you've downloaded the software, you can choose to back up the source disk, which is your hard drive, and then choose the target disk, which is Carbon Copy Cloner. And you can also choose items that you don't want to copy by selecting the items and then clicking the little remove sign right here. And that's it. And now we have another caller. We have James on the webcam from Gastonia, North Carolina.
Wow, that's so cool.
Nice
Thank
name.
you, Amber. Hello, James. How are you?
What's up, man?
What's up? That's really old-fashioned. I don't think anybody does that anymore.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do it. Yeah, we're old-fashioned. So what's old school, as they say today, as the kids say? What can I do for you, James?
Yeah, I'm calling today because I was trying to find a good database program that interchanges between Mac and PC.
Okay.
Something that we can track our customers with, because friends of mine and I are starting up a business, and we need to track our contacts and everything.
And you're Mac.
I'm Mac, and everyone else is PC.
So you have a vested interest, don't you? I will not go to Windows.
No.
So what kind of stuff do you want to keep track of?
Well, basically, it's just invoicing, tracking different types of clients, like sales, the different kinds of contacts, this phone, things like that.
There are, it used to be there was ACT for Mac and Windows, and the ACT stopped doing Mac versions a while ago, and that's too bad, because that was a good customer tracking program. Invoicing, you can use QuickBooks on Mac and PC, but I think probably the best solution for you is going to be FileMaker. This is a totally cross-platform solution. It works exactly the same on Windows and on Macintosh. It's a database program. It comes with a lot of templates, though, including templates to do all the stuff that you wanted to do. And because it's a database program, it's completely customizable. So you can go in there. I mean, are you fairly comfortable with, are you geeking out a little bit?
I guess you could say that.
Yeah, if you don't mind doing a little design, and it's not difficult, you can make this fit your business exactly. Plus, there are a lot of FileMaker consultants out there who you can hire who would do this for you. And there's even standalone applications written in FileMaker. So they have this business productivity kit. It's probably something you'd want to look at. It's got solutions for managing contacts and companies, organizing products and inventory, processing sales orders, tracking products and production, sending targeted mailings, producing invoices and reports. My goodness, that sounds like exactly what you just described.
Exactly.
And I used FileMaker for years for my invoices. What's nice is you can make really good-looking invoices. It's a kind of more Mac-ish program than Windows program. It's got the designer is, it's a designer built in, and you could just lay out your database, beautiful forms, really good at forms and that kind of thing. And The database you create on Mac works exactly the same on Mac and Windows. They also have a web publishing tool so that you can, if you buy the higher end version, you can serve it on the web so that they can, if you're in different places, you can connect to it and they can connect to it through a centralized website, which is really great. Or if you're in the same place, they have networking. We used to use this to keep track, on the screensavers, we use this to keep track of our guests. Not guests, audience members.
Speaking of screensavers, I miss that, man.
Oh, thank you. I miss it too. It was a lot of fun to do. But, you know, we do This Week in Tech now, and it's kind of, it's like the screensavers, we're just sitting around after the show. It's a little less formal. So I would say this is probably a really good choice for exactly what you want to do. FileMaker, it's called, from FileMaker.com.
Well, how do you feel about QuickBooks? We went to Office Depot or something like that, and that's what they recommended was QuickBooks.
Yeah.
They said that it was interchangeable between the two, but the only problem I have with that is the fact that it's not as in-depth as FileMaker Pro.
Yeah, it's just accounting and invoices.
Right.
So it's not going to be as useful for the other stuff. And you know, I'm not sure. I don't think it actually is that easy to go from Mac to PC on QuickBooks. I'm not sure that the file format's the same. I use QuickBooks on the PC, and it's a very. I mean, I use it for invoicing now. It's what I use now for invoicing and keep track of my business. And it's a very, very powerful program. It comes on most Macs. There's a limited version that comes on Macs, so you could try it. But I'm not sure that the file format is exactly the same. Mike, do you know offhand?
I don't think it is the same format.
I think it's a different format.
I think it's a different format, and I also think there's a problem with QuickBooks in terms of they have a sunset policy in terms of you can only use that software for a year or 2 years or something like that, and then it shuts itself down. And so
you have to buy the limited edition. You have to buy it.
You buy it again, so you have to invest another $300, $400, $500 into another set. So if I mean, if it's FileMaker,
so File Pro 7, you don't do that with.
No. FileMaker is 8, by the way. Now just came out. Okay. The other problem with QuickBooks is, I mean, it's really good for accounting. If accounting is the main focus of what you're going to do, that's fine.
Right.
But it sounds like you're keeping track of customers, keeping track of inventory, keeping track, and that's more elaborate. And I would say FileMaker would be a better choice. QuickBooks is not customizable either. I mean, it's really what you see is what you get, and FileMaker is totally customizable.
Right.
You know, you can download a trial. You get a 30-day free trial of FileMaker and the business productivity tools. What I would do is download it, see if it does what you want.
Okay, and that's FileMaker 8?
Yeah, just go to FileMaker.com. It's called FileMaker Pro 8. Works with Windows and Mac. You can download a 30-day trial for both. I would suggest downloading the Business Productivity Kit. That's additional templates for exactly what you want to do. You can install that as well and see how close they can come to what you want to do. I like the customizability of this. It's not, if business accounting is what you want to do, it's not going to be the right tool. QuickBooks is the definitive tool. You know, you can make an accountant disk, bring it to your accountant. There's all sorts of reasons to use QuickBooks.
Right.
For accounting. But you said more than accounting.
Right, definitely. We have an accountant that basically works on the money side of things, but basically we're an advertising company, and because of that, we've got to keep track of.
You're creative types.
Exactly. I'm more of the sales guy, you know, but the other guys are the artists.
Yeah.
I'm not that creative in that sense.
You know, and sales, by the way, ACT is an incredible program for keeping track of customers. But see, there's no one program that does all the things you want to talk about unless you use FileMaker and kind of design it yourself. And I think that's
probably... I used to use ACT for personal sales.
Yeah. ACT is incredible for
I've
sales.
had in the past.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they don't make it for Mac anymore.
I know.
So
I was bummed out about that.
That's the only problem.
Yeah. ACT was, you know, just as QuickBooks is the perfect business accounting tool, ACT is a perfect customer relationship tool. But you want something that does that and keeps track of inventory. You know, and that it gets so when you something that big, I think a database is really the right way to go.
Right.
Okay, James.
Thank you, sir.
Good luck.
Thanks, man.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
It's hard being a Mac guy in a Windows world. Are you spending too much time researching restaurants for your girlfriend's birthday and not enough time looking for a new job? You know how that is, don't you? We'll show you how to get your to-do lists on track. Track your time. Next on Call for Help. What's the one thing you get at the beginning of your life that's limited? You use it every single minute of your life, and at the end you've run out of it completely. And you never get any extra. Time, right? You never get more, and you always have more demands on it. Wouldn't it be nice to be a little bit better at managing your time? Amber's going to show us a place online where you can track our to-do lists with a clock.
Yes.
I like that idea.
It's a great idea. So if you remember a while ago, I showed free Mac download called Chronos, where you could actually track your time.
Right.
But it wasn't as advanced as this because it didn't allow you to really track, multiple projects that you're working on, and it didn't really run just on the internet. So this is cool because you can log in and start your time and stop your time. It's called Time Tracker.
So this would be good if you were a lawyer or you billed by the hour.
It would be good. I mean, it's good if you're a consultant and you have to, like you said, if you have to track your hours. It's also good if you're just trying to make better use of your time in your life. So many of us are so busy. And so if there's certain things that you do that you want to say, hey, I'm only going to spend an hour researching, my vacation spot for March or something like that. Just a really easy way to go online and keep track of it so you don't get lost. Well, you know what? I think I'm going to have to start doing it because I tend to go online and get lost, and I'm online for hours and hours now. So I need to limit myself and cut myself off from things. So we'll take a look at it. It's called Time Tracker. It's in beta version. So obviously they haven't worked out all the bugs. It's really easy to sign up. It's completely free. So all you do is you sign up for an account, you put in your email address and some other basic information. It just takes 2 minutes. And then the idea is that it runs basically and has a list of all your different tasks. So you can see here, I've added a few tasks like writing scripts for Call for Help, creating a budget for web projects, researching ideas for upcoming interview, convincing Mike to cut his hair. So, you can pretty much add anything in here.
How many hours have you allotted to convincing Mike to cut
It's only been 31 minutes, but I'm going to let this go. So you can see on the far right hand side, you're able to, it has a little clock that's actually going here, so it's tracking your time.
So you click it to say I've started.
You click it to say you started, and then if you can see here, we'll just scroll over a little bit.
This is nicely done.
The nice thing is that, say, for example, I've spent 31 minutes trying to convince Mike to cut his hair, and then I'm not going to do it for a while. I can actually stop the timer, and it remembers that. So even if you log out and you don't log back in until tomorrow, and you want to start it up again, you can go in, and then you can click here, because if you can see on the right-hand side, it's kind of sleeping in this mode, and you can start the timer again. So you can start and
continue convincing Mike.
You can start and stop things. So that's a nice thing if you're working on projects and you work a certain number of hours and you need to add on. So we're going to show how to actually add a task. So all you do is you go add task. The start date goes in automatically, and it automatically gets the sort of all the other different tasks that you have already picked and the categories that you picked. But we'll add a new task here.
So if you have repeating tasks,
exactly.
It's very easy
repeating task, it's really, really easy. So let's pick a task that we might want to do. Let's say research free files.
Okay.
Free files. And then we can go and we can add it into a category. Now
Can you say how long you want to spend doing it?
Well, you could probably put that in your notes in the task, so you could go back here and
so it doesn't have a limit. It won't say, okay,
it won't
stop doing that.
Yeah, but let's say 1 hour max. That's what we want to put in there. And then we go in, we say the category is for Call for Help. And then we go here to the right-hand side, and we want to actually, it'll start doing it right away. So we save that. Done. And then, it's not. That done means you actually finished doing the task.
Undone.
So, yeah, undone. So we start the time again. So then, as I said, it just keeps going on and on and on until you actually go back in, and then you stop the timer.
Slick.
Yeah, it's really, really slick. So, you have tons of you can keep adding as many tasks as you want, and then you can go in and just, let's say for creating budget for web projects, I'm finished, so I just click done, and then that will stop the timer, and then it actually archives it with kind of a, let's see, stop timer. So it's just gone to sleep now. But then if you see down here, creating budget for web projects, it actually puts a line through it. But then you can also start it up again if you want. If there's some reason that you want to start it, for, again, because you keep working on the same project.
This is very slickly done. It really shows you how web applications are getting very sophisticated.
It's really nicely done. And again, I think it would be really helpful for anyone. I do a lot of consulting work, so I'm constantly having to track my time, and I'm absolutely, I shouldn't say I'm terrible at it, but I'm not.
I think you're probably much better at it than I am.
I'm not the best at it. So this is a really handy tool to be able to just sign up for free, and it keeps track of your time, and then you can go back in and you can just start and stop it again. So if you have a project for, say, a month, you can keep using the same task, the same item line, and track it, and then finish it off, and then go back in and then use something like Blink Sale when you're invoicing, and you actually have an accurate number of hours.
You've put all of this together.
Yes. So the idea would be
it's all online.
Use Time Tracker to track your hours. Use Blink Sale if you want to invoice for projects, and you can use Basecamp.
I was going to say for project management.
For project management.
Yeah.
So if you use a lot of these web-based tools, then you should be in pretty good shape and stay organized.
And it's good if you move around.
It is.
Or if you're at Starbucks sometimes working, or you're at home sometimes, or at the office. All of this stuff is always online.
It's all right there, so you can just log back into your account, and most of these services are free for the basic accounts, and Time Tracker is completely free right now because it's still in beta.
I've started looking at putting my organizational stuff on a wiki online so that I can access it at home and at work, because it gets out of sync.
It gets out of sync. It's hard.
I'm in Toronto and I can't get
You're
out.
all over the place. Actually, I'm moving almost everything online now. I use Basecamp all the time, which I absolutely love. And I'm going to start using this as well. So I can, again, it's the hours, keeping track of them. That's a little bit difficult sometimes.
Just, we got to go.
Whoops.
I'll ask you some questions about the design of this at the end of the show, because I'm really interested. For more information about creating timely to-do lists, play that guitar. Visit callforhelptv.com. We'll be right back after a quick look at those nutty folks in the control room.
10, 9, 8 commercials, 7, 6, 5 commercials, 4, 3, roll commercials, 2, 1.
Welcome back to Call for Help. Time for our Firefox tip of the day. Here's how you can quickly add a bookmark in Firefox. All you have to do is highlight the URL, so we're highlighting blinksale.com, and then drag and drop it into Firefox, and then you can easily access that. And now we have another caller. We have Scott on the line from Irvine, California.
Hey, Scott. Thank you, Amber. How are you today?
Not too bad. How you doing, Leo?
Very well. Welcome to the program. What can I do for you?
I had a question for you.
Yes, sir.
So I recently got an iPod Mini since they went on sale.
Yeah, they discontinued them.
Nanos, you know?
It's actually a good deal, yeah.
Yeah, I got it for $150. That was actually cheap.
That's great.
But I tried transferring all my songs on there, and when I get them on, and it fills up, all the songs I have is about 520.
Right.
And the box is 1,000. I couldn't figure out why.
Well, the 1,000, when Apple says 1,000, is based on, in fact, it even says in the fine print somewhere, AAC encoding using 128 bits. So,
is that what it is?
Yeah. So, are yours? How are yours encoded?
They're usually MP3, about like 160.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
So AAC is a successor to MP3, and it is claimed, although I'm not sure it's true, that 128-bit AAC is as good as 160 kilobit MP3.
Yeah.
That's, it's close. So that's where the 1,000 comes from. You could downsample your MP3s, but they wouldn't sound as good.
Do that with like the whole directory?
Sure. Now, are you on Windows or Mac?
I have both.
On Windows, it's pretty easy with a program called CDEX. This is a free program. In fact, we have a link right there in front of you. It's CDEX.sourceforge.net, I believe. And this is a free program that I actually use to do ripping, but it does other things too, including batch conversion. So you would select re-encode compressed audio files. You'd select the files, and you tell it what, you actually have to tell it ahead of time in the preferences what encoding to use, and it would convert them to a lower bit rate.
So it'll leave the original files alone, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and unless you check this box that says delete original, but normally it would. And you would want to keep them because you're going to be degrading the sound quality quite a bit. Yeah. But you can get a lot more on. One other way to do it maybe is convert them to mono. If you don't care about stereo, you cut it in half when you go to mono,
Oh, do you?
Yeah, 160 kilobit MP3 is really left and right at 80 each. So if you made it a mono, it would sound as good. The quality would be as good. It just wouldn't be stereo.
You just hear it out of one headphone? Or
No, you'd have both headphones. It'd just be the same in both headphones. So, that's another way to compress it by half, is just convert them all to mono.
I didn't even think about doing that.
Yeah, I mean, you should try it first to see, because you may not realize what a big difference stereo makes to you. It just depends. Some people it bugs. Some people go, I can't tell the difference. Yeah. I think what's nice is the bass is just as good, the high end's just as good. The sound quality hasn't been changed at all. You just don't have stereo anymore.
Yeah.
Now I don't know. I should check to see if this will do that. It may not, but I'm sure there is another tool that you could do that with.
What's a good bit rate to put it at?
Well, in my opinion, on MP3, 160 kilobits is in fact the kind of optimum bit rate. 120, I can tell 128 kilobit MP3. What we're talking about, folks, just so you understand, is when you compress audio using one of these techniques like MP3 or AAC, you're actually tearing bits of the audio out. Now, the idea of the algorithm is that you can take bits of the audio out inaudibly, but it is lossy compression. You're losing some of the data. That's how it can compress it so much. You get to tell it how big you want the files to be, and the way you tell it is how many bits per second to store. So kind of the normal, most of the time when you get an MP3, it's around 128,000 bits per second. I think that's too low. I think if you encode it 160, or for most things, or 192 for complex music, you're going to get pretty close to the original audio, the CD audio. And they're golden-eared people who say, oh, I can tell the difference and so forth. But I have to say, I've done A/B comparisons. In fact, the Dolby Labs folks said, come on into the Dolby Labs. And they have a beautiful reference studio with Rebel speakers and perfect audio condition. And the guy played for me, A/B comparison. It was fairly simple. It was Steely Dan, so it was fairly simple. But I could not tell the difference past 160 kilobits. I mean, it really sounded the same as the original CD. But you have to test that for yourself. I think 160 is ideal. And I do think with AAC, you can go down to 128 and get pretty good. That's how Apple, when you buy stuff from the iTunes Music Store, it's 128 kilobit AAC. And it sounds pretty darn good.
Oh, can you do that with that CDEX program?
CDEX does not go to AAC because AAC is a proprietary format. However, good news, iTunes does.
Oh, yeah?
So the other thing you could do is open it all in iTunes. You have to set your iTunes preferences to encode as AAC 128 kilobit, and you can select them all and re-encode them. It'll save the originals, and you'll have two copies. You'll have the regular MP3, and you'll have now an AAC at 128. That would save you. You said you have 160, so you'd be saving 48 kilobits per second, or whatever that is.
Does that take a long time to do?
No. It depends on the speed of your machine. Probably take a minute or two per song. But you just go to bed.
Yeah, just let it go overnight.
Yeah, exactly. So just select all the songs in iTunes and say, convert to MP3 or convert to AAC. All right?
Sounds easy enough.
It is. Good luck, Scott, and congratulations on your deal on a Mini. That's a heck of a deal.
I know.
I don't think there's anything wrong with buying an old Mini at that price. The Minis are great. They were the best-selling iPods. So speaking of good deals, we're talking free file of the day. And who says free files have to be useful? No, by no means. Sometimes they could just be fun, fun, fun. Mikey has two free files of the day for us today. You do need a haircut.
No, I don't.
I like this little fringe here, though.
Just note on that collar, you can do it in Audacity manually, make it a mono.
Yeah, I know, one by one in Audacity. That would be slow.
Sucks.
But yeah, Audacity's free from SourceForge as well. Yeah.
So
what are we getting free here? A police chase?
You're getting Grand Theft Auto, the very first one and the second one.
You're kidding.
Now, this is a great deal because Rockstar has realized that there's still demand for these old games.
Oh, sure. Nostalgia alone kind of a thing. And instead of people getting ROMs off the internet, they said, you know what, take it for free, download That's
it.
Great.
You know what I mean?
Good for them, because they don't make any money on Grand Theft Auto 1 and 2.
No.
They're making all the money on the new one. So now, this is the cutscene. It doesn't look this good. Let's play the game. This actually is kind of fun to play for people who don't remember what Grand Theft Auto used to be like.
Exactly. You play this and you realize how good the new one is.
It's very realistic now.
Yeah, this is like a 2D and top-down look view. I can't really do it playing back.
It's also a very violent game, but I have to say that Grand Theft Auto 2, even though the violence is the same, because it's not as realistic, isn't as creepy. I mean,
it's more of an
Vice City and San Andreas are creepy because they're so realistic.
Exactly. This is more of an arcade-style game kind of a thing, and I was just busted, but.
Oh, the cops got you, dude.
And the cop will tell me the other.
This is kind of like a fancy spy chase.
Well, that's what I was going to compare it to.
Yeah,
it's spy chaser with a little theme and plot in there. But so Grand Theft Auto 1 and 2 are available for free.
Is 1 much worse than this? It's really kind of primitive.
It's really, really bad. But it's fun to play for the fact that you see how lucky you are nowadays to have the newer Rockstar.
I downloaded these for my kid, and he loved them. Yeah. And it was fun for him to see him, and I didn't feel so bad about him playing these as I didn't want him to play Vice City.
Well, Vice City and San Andreas are really bad, right? So
they're too violent.
But these ones, it's fairly inane.
You're still carjacking and beating people up, but from the top down, it just doesn't look as bad.
Exactly.
Our free file of the day, 2 of them. Count them 2, and we'll put the links on the show notes because it's kind of hard to find. But
absolutely.
Just click the link there. Coming up next, what you can do if you suspect your own operating system is hacked. In fact, Steve Gibson, our security expert, will be here to show us a way hackers have of getting in your system so that no one can tell they're there. Have you been rootkitted? We'll find out when we return. But right now, it's our next tech quiz of the day. Our question today, in what year was the first permanent, not temporary, very important, permanent iMac system set up? 1967, 1985, 1971, or 1900? Boy, I have no idea.
Better question is where.
Where? I know where. All right, well, we'll see if we get the answer. When and where when we return. Stay right here. Oh, this is a great question. What year was the first permanent iMac system set up? I want to say 71. And I would be right. Of course, I just read the answer, so that was a pretty good guess. But I was going to say that before. The story's interesting. The first attempt at big screen with multi-projectors was done in 1967 at the Expo in Expo 67 in Montreal. Didn't quite work. Expo 70, they got the first iMacs working in Osaka. But it wasn't until 1971 that a permanent installation was done. Where? Right here in Toronto, because that's where the iMacs headquarters is. Well, like a stubborn... I hope you got that right. That was a good question. Like a stubborn cold you just can't shake. Once a rootkit has infected your system, it can be extremely difficult to get rid of. There is a difference, though. You know when you've got a cold. You may not know when you've got a rootkit. It can modify your system in order to hide itself so that you never know it's there. Fortunately, Steve Gibson has discovered a way to detect rootkits, and he's here to explain what they are and how to solve the problem.
Hey, Leo.
Hey, Steve. Rootkits are very scary.
Well, it's a new technology. Actually, it's an old technology which has recently made it into consumer PCs.
What is a rootkit?
The idea behind a rootkit is it's any technology that hides other software on your system.
So it's possible to put something on my system that I can't see?
You can't do a directory. You can't do a task list.
I mean, if I hit Control-Alt-Delete and look at the processes, it won't show up?
It's not showing up. It won't show up in a directory. It's like sort of like super hidden files, even in the registry. If you had keys like auto-run keys that are starting up software automatically, it'll hide those. Basically, it allows software that's using this rootkit technology to go totally, deeply stealth inside your system.
That means that people could have stuff on their system and have no way of knowing it's there.
People who use rootkit detection are discovering this stuff they never knew about. It's like years ago when the first anti-spyware was coming along, and people would run Adaware or Spybot, and they'd go, "Oh my goodness, this stuff's on my machine."
Right. Does spyware use rootkits?
Spyware has begun to use rootkits because we're escalating this battle between the in the same way that the virus-antivirus battle escalated, the spyware-anti-spyware battle is escalating. Right. And so this is a way for software to hide in your machine.
Show us how it works.
Normally, in a clean system, you have applications running sort of all using the OS kernel to get what they want done.
This is the heart of the operating system. All operating systems have them.
Exactly.
Windows has it. It's called the kernel.
And there's a fundamental division of responsibility. It's like the apps are clients of the kernel, which gives them services, like hard disk services, network services. Even the screen is a service. So the application says, show something on the screen. The kernel manages the screen, and that's how multiple applications are able to all be going at the same time. The OS sort of handles time sharing or time slicing among them.
So if to detect anything on the operating system, I'm reliant on the kernel to be able to show it to me.
It's what makes everything go, fundamentally.
Right. So what does a rootkit do to...
What happens is, if this really bad rootkit malware gets installed in your machine, it is able to insert itself in the kernel. It's like a kernel extension. Well, it's not a good kernel extension.
Right.
It's able to insert itself invisibly. All the apps now running on the operating system still think they're talking to directly to the kernel.
But
in fact, all of their requests, or actually specific requests, are being filtered through the kernel so that the request comes in. For example, say you were doing a directory listing. You would say, show me a list of files. Well, as those files individually are being sent back to the app to display, the rootkit checks to see if that's one of the files it's trying to hide. If so, it just doesn't send it back. It skips to the next one.
So you're really, it's in between you and the operating system, hiding itself.
Even antivirus and anti-spyware software, that is an application running on your system, which is as much a victim of the rootkit hiding as anything else.
How does somebody get a rootkit on my system? Does he have to have physical access?
No, it turns out that in the same, exactly the same way that anything bad gets in, you know, any kind of malware, spyware, virus, something you didn't mean to have happen. And of course, we know from people
all the time.
Exactly, it's happening all the time. So what's happening now is the viruses and spyware is beginning to employ, for example, Cool Web Search. That's one of the most prolific spyware. It's got rootkit technology, so the anti-Cool Web Search searchers can no longer find it.
There is a very
useful program. It goes in and it disappears.
Called CWS Shredder that gets rid of CWS, but it doesn't work anymore because CWS is now using rootkits to hide itself.
Right.
So what do we do?
It turns out for the moment, there are some solutions. The guys at SysInternals, it's www.sysinternals.com. We'll have it in the show notes. ERNALS.
Okay.
They have something called the Rootkit Revealer. It's technology which, at the moment, shows every known rootkit. What it does is, it's an application, just like anything else you would run on your system, but it also brings along sort of its own little OS.
So it doesn't have to rely on the kernel anymore.
It brings its own file system awareness along, and it does ask the OS for individual physical sectors. But it reads the raw disk. It reads the Hive files, which is the storage format for the registry, and it actually parses the whole NTFS or file system.
So it can see.
It basically short circuits the rootkit by going underneath it, and it does an A/B comparison of what the file system, as told to it by the OS, tells it versus what it was able to get by going more direct.
If there's a difference, somebody's hiding something.
Well, what's so cool about this is it doesn't need to know like specific signatures. It doesn't need to be updated for specific rootkits. The point is,
knows there's something
if anything is hidden, it says, wait a minute, I couldn't see this file from the outside. I had to go underneath.
On all our machines, you should run it on your machines. We have a link in the show notes to the SysInternals site. Get this. Is there a name for this program?
It's called Rootkit Revealer. You could Google it and find it.
And thank goodness we got Steve Gibson. Please send us emails. I'd be curious how many of you have rootkits.
That would be really nice to know.
Yeah, I'd be very curious. grc.com is his website. That's where Shields Up is and all the great stuff that he does to protect us all. And, of course, our podcast Security Now covers these kinds of topics at grc.com/securitynow.htm every single week. By the way, Call for Help show notes are at callforhelptv.com. You can get that information there as well. We'll be right back in just a minute. Stay here. So Sean just started to run this rootkit revealer on Andy's old laptop.
What did it find?
It's got rootkits on it.
Oh.
So I now want to go home and run it all on my systems. I mean, there are a lot of systems out there that have this. Hard to believe. We don't have to worry on the Mac. Well, actually, we do. But the problem is there's no rootkit revealer for the Mac. If you want to be on the show, go to our website, callforhelptv.com. Click that link and it says, ask a question. We'll get you right on here. You don't have to have a problem with your personal confuser. Don't whine.
Don't moan.
Don't
yelp.
Yelp.